Is Sombra underpowered, overpowered, or is she actually balanced? Was this rework a big failure or was it a huge success? What needs to be done with this character moving forward? All of these topics and more discussed with Fitzyhere, Questron, RubenSargasm, Yeatle, and myself, the complete Sombra panel. Big shout out to Elo Mastery Discord for hosting this. They're a huge educational community that does a lot of free and paid content, written guides, video guides, how to play different compositions, a lot of in-depth strategy from Overwatch League players and coaches, and even a lot of free coaching calls. So I highly recommend checking out their website and Discord, link in the description, and enjoy the rest of the video. All right. Well, appreciate y'all being here. This is the Steel SVB's titles, shamelessly, the great Sombra debate. I had been suffering through some Sombra grind on my own and mostly just theory crafting and thinking about like what was good with the hero, what was bad with the hero, what I thought about the rework. And I was like, you know what we should do? We should try and like actually ask people that actually know what they're doing about this character. So I'll have some takes. I will be a slightly biased moderator, but I do want to mostly get y'all's takes on what we think of Pikachu just took a plunge, what we think of the character, the rework, and all that. So we have a couple of set questions. We'll go through everybody's thoughts and concerns. And then at the end, I actually have a few questions from the Elo Mastery Discord, which we opened up to ask them, have them ask some questions for you guys. There's only a few of them. That work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do this the simple way. Starting with Fitzy, then Questron, then Ruben, then Yeatle. Introduce yourself in a sentence or less, and specifically obviously Fitzy is Sombra guy, right? But like, introduce what you've been doing with Sombra recently and why the heck you're here. Fitzy first.
I'm Fitzyhere. As you can see, my name it says backwards on my stream, but I think it's good on yours. So yeah, I play a lot of Sombra. Since her release, been through many iterations. So yeah.
Perfect. Glad to have you here. Questron?
I am the European version of Fitzy, pretty much. I
almost made an American joke there, but I know that's tired at this point.
No, I have. That's why the button's there. But I get it like, oh my gravy! Say it ain't so. It cannot be true. No, I'm Dutch. I play in Europe, and I've been playing like a really aggressive kind of Sombra since all the way back in Overwatch 1. And that really worked out for me because this entire rework is like pretty much towards my playstyle, and that helped me out. But I will say that before that, it wasn't a good idea to not hack health packs, but I still yelled about it. And that's why I'm here. So
sure.
It naturally led into my playstyle, yeah.
I'm Ruben. I've been playing Sombra for a very, very long time. I have a competitive background with Overwatch. I have a lot of experience playing in contenders. Not like in contenders, but like I was on Sky Foxes.
I didn't know that.
Much,
really?
But I was there. Yeah, I was on Sky Foxes. That was a time. That was a team. But yeah, still playing Sombra till this day. Having a really good time with her right now. So really happy about this rework.
Sure. And the odd man out, but the one that's comfortably in GM1 right now, last I checked, Yeatle.
Yep. Yeah, I'm Yeatle. I'm mostly known as a tank player, but as of the recent season, I tried out Sombra, and I'm really liking her. One of the most fun heroes I played in Overwatch in a while. And right now I'm on the journey for 100 hours. I'm 88 hours in. So yeah,
nice to have you here. So appreciate y'all being here. I actually want to start in reverse order here. I'm going to go back to Yeatle because you made a really interesting tweet pretty quickly after the rework was released, which was Sombra is the new wrecking ball. And so while we're on the topic, first question, first impressions of Sombra rework. I'm curious to see, can you elaborate on that? And I guess just give me your overall impressions of the Sombra rework.
Yeah. So I say Sombra is a new wrecking ball because I feel like her playstyle is very similar to Ball in Overwatch 1 in the sense that like she's obviously not the main engagement, but she can be sometimes. And the way I like to play is I like to bait out a lot of resources. So like I'll hack the on-out cuber or whatever and just make her use all her cooldowns on me, get out, then re-engage. And I feel like it's very similar to Ball in that aspect. Also SMG and all that. So yeah.
Sure. So your overall impression is favorable, I assume, because you've been putting a lot of time in.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's really fun. I like her.
What do you like about it? What's fun to you?
I didn't really play Overwatch 1 Sombra, not Overwatch 1 Sombra, the last version of Sombra very much. It wasn't really my play style. But this one's more active, and I feel like you're like really in there and out of there. a lot of the time. So I really just like her high uptime is the best way to put it. I feel like she has like a really high uptime compared to a lot of heroes.
Sure. So Ruben, your impression, you've been playing the character for a while, so been through a lot of iterations. What are your thoughts on the rework?
I think the rework is really, really nice. She's a lot more fun to play. I like how like quick and snappy her new translocator is. Her EMP is like borderline useless, but that can be addressed later. I think her neutral game being really good is a lot more important. But the one problem I seem to be running into isn't any tanks, it isn't any DPS, it is just supports. It is just like there are 4 supports that I'm really worried about when I'm playing Sombra. Lifeweaver, Kiriko, Iliari, and Bat. If the enemy team has one of those 4 guys, my job as Sombra is going to be a lot more difficult to do. If they have 2 of those guys, I literally just need to swap. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do. And unfortunately, all of those guys are pretty prevalent in ranked and in the meta in general. So there's more instances than I would like where I'm like, I literally cannot play Sombra here. It is impossible. I'm going to be actively useless. I won't be able to kill anyone or do anything. So that kind of sucks. But if they have only one of those 4 guys, or if they don't have any of those guys, I'm gonna have an amazing time.
Sure, makes sense. So definitely a positive experience, but situational depending on comp, specifically supports. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Questron, you've been the like you said, the Sombra innovator of the last year. The no hacking health packs, the aggressive translocator, at least in the educational community, all the hot takes, and really helping a lot of people play Sombra with a lot more brain. So you are, I know it's weird to compliment that much.
No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure, but this has to be a perfect take.
You're not setting me up at all. This is fine.
Surely. So what are your thoughts on the rework? I mean, in theory, with what's being said, maybe a little bit more dynamic, maybe a little bit more engaged. So what are the good and the bad according to you?
Okay, so my one major like W point is how they handled virus and like the idea behind virus. Not virus itself is pretty simple. It's just like you throw the orb and it does damage. But before, one of the major issues with hack having a damage boost on top of all the other things that it used to have, and I was against this like from the moment they announced it before Overwatch 2 even launched. Hack was kind of like an all encompassing ability, so you always hacked. There was never a bad time to hack. There was never a quote-unquote wasted hack, I guess. Because if you didn't hack for the ability lockout, you hacked for the damage. If you didn't hack for the damage, maybe the 0.1% chance where you hacked them for the walls behind it. But now they split the 70% of the time where you engage with a hack for the damage off into a separate ability, which makes hack specific use case. So every time you hack someone now, you can verbally express why you hacked someone and not just you might as well hack someone to have some extra value or impact. That's the big change that I think is the reason why Sombra feels so much fun now. Because before, if you have all your eggs in one basket, all it takes is any type of cleanse. Kiriko, Zarya, even Moira, Fader, anything pretty much. Because after a hack, they would immediately use the cleanse on your hack so there's no damage boost. So you're just stuck with a character that felt pretty bad. Because what's left over aside the hack that she used to have is pretty much nothing. Her hack was nothing. EMP took forever to build. But EMP was the game-winning fight ability, or the fight-winning ability, and then hack was the thing on the site to build EMP at that point because cleanse was so rampant and prevalent, which is why Sombra felt good in season 4 or 3. I think 3 is when she started feeling better because you could just build EMP faster, and then they nerfed that, and then nerfed it again, and then you ended up with season 6 where Sombra just felt really bad because of how often you could just remove her actual value from the fight, which is why I told everybody to stop hacking health packs and to maximize your uptime because you're not going to rely on picks because hack never lasts that long. It never actually does. So now you just are more aggressive in the mid fight and you don't play for EMP. I will say EMP sucks. That's true, but I think that's a good thing this time around. I just wish it happened more often. So it's a less impactful ability that should happen more often. That is no longer a fight-winning ability. So I like this version of EMP being like a tempo ability to solo EMP a Winston if he dives into aggressively or something like that to shut one specific person down, or EMP a team so that you can get one pick off, something like that. I like this version of EMP. Even though it is bad, the rest of her kit is allowed to be good because it is bad.
So you got the Nanoblade strategy where like if Nanoblade was not quite suppressive for Genji, Genji could have a better neutral, kind of an argument. But you're like, I like the better neutral. I don't need a fight winning ultimate every single time.
Yeah, I like the utility aspect of it being reintroduced into EMP instead of just, oh, I can EMP and then we win the fight. Because it was really simplistic before. My entire shtick was that you were so aggressive and had so much uptime that you would constantly have EMP every fight, and that way you would win fights and games, specifically through EMP in a roundabout way. So overall, I think this added so much more neutral gameplay that she's just so much more fun. Because she was fun if you forced this kind of gameplay before. It just wasn't the ideal way to play, which is why I always sucked. And I did it anyway because I just had so much fun, which is why I built up the habits that current Sombra, this version of Sombra, now has. And I just kind of naturally seeped into the gameplay.
Sure. Makes
so
sense.
I got lucky. I got really
sense.
lucky.
Makes sense. I already paid off the devs. We haven't quite figured that one out just yet. Fitzy, you've been the Sombra guy for, I mean, as long as I've been playing the game almost. So I guess your thoughts on the rework, because obviously there's a lot of people that get pretty defensive when you rework a character that you've enjoyed playing for so long. Imagine, Mercy mains, if Mercy was totally reworked tomorrow, there would be a big uproar. So you've been relatively positive though. You worked yourself to a 50% win rate. You had some thoughts on playing her in the spam war, going for backline. What are your overall thoughts on the rework?
So we talked with the devs, when it was launched and whatnot. And one of the things that they said was, because I asked like, oh, going to revert any of these changes or anything. And what they said was they want this to be our building blocks and we'll go from there. And I'm happy with the building blocks. Again, there's this like, oh, it's not your play style, blah, blah, blah. I saw Sombermain's post about my tweet about the 50% win rate. And then I saw the competitive Overwatch post. And there's so many people that are like, yeah, this guy sucks. We shouldn't trust him at all. Da, da, da. It's like, okay, listen. It's like learning a brand new hero. But all that being said, Sombra's had reworks plenty in the past. Like, this is like number 5 or something. I don't even know what it is at this point. And they haven't been as drastic. I mean, obviously going Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2 was pretty big, and then this one's pretty big again. But the thing is that like I figure out how to play the hero, and like it's just relearning and adapting. We've gone from farming health packs to denying mass res to the moth meta of all these things. So it's about being able to adapt. So I think I think the rework is good. Again, I'm not like, oh no, I'm very neutral in terms of thoughts. All right, like I'm not a very strong-minded person, and it comes to like they changed this one thing, I can't. It's ruined. Oh, like I don't care. Like I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna see if it's fun. I can kill Hanzo. That's a win for me.
That's true.
Kiriko, that bitch is still running around, but so yeah, I think overall, it's good. I have, I played for 40 hours, got the 50 win rate. It was literally just like 50% win rate over and over. And now I'm finally climbing. And I'm like in the top of GM3 or whatever it is. So it's and at this point, it's like a matter of just like grinding it for another 10, 20 hours, whatever, to get up the GM1 or whatever. And it's actually been easier to climb. Like it's been a significantly higher win rate after those 40 hours. I think I have like 54% rater now or something. Nice. I don't know. But anyways,
I added to that today. I did.
I
was there.
That was close. That was close.
It wasn't close at all.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good. I think there's the learning curve of obviously like if you're playing against these Kiriko and Breg, you're like playing a new hero, and so they're used to playing their heroes and how to just like, oh, I just Suzu. It's a lot easier to defend against it for supports, obviously, than it is for like Sombra to find that value, find that window. And also in the meantime, trying not to fall into old Sombra habits, positioning, engagement, using the EMP for things, because all of those things like, oh, I can EMP this because I can kill them, and it's like, oh no, you can't now because that extra 20 damage is like you have 1.5 seconds. And now to like lead with virus, then EMP, and maybe if you virus and miss, you don't EMP, and then there's just a lot of like trying to push your limits while also not falling. Like you managing that on like your old Sombra damage limits as well. So that's why I think things like obviously Yeatle's a good player and has been very high with ball and whatnot, but is probably having a little bit easier time because you're just like, oh, I just am playing this hero and like I know I'm gonna figure out the limits and not like I'm trying to fight these old limits of how to play.
Yeah, I don't have
In
old
terms,
habits to fight.
yeah,
I got
because
really
there's a
lucky
lot
with
of
that.
positioning and a lot of even like throwing the translocator. It has like a different trajectory. So even though I know where I want to go, I'm like, oh, I have to throw it at this angle, and it's like, no, you just do it more direct. All of those little things kind of add up to feeding a little
Yeah,
a little bit
yeah.
more than you'd like.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
even Lip, who's like largely considered to be like the best competitive Sombra in the world, I was like playing Sombra, and he's like, "GG, this sucks," and just stopped playing. So it's like they said that those old habits die hard sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of negative comments about Sombra were all made before. I'm not 100% sure how much I'm allowed to talk about it from Blizzard, but before we got like the quote unquote final build. So there was a very early test run of Sombra that I am allowed to talk about that Fitzy also was and Ruben also was part of, and some other streamers too. In that build, she was bad, and a lot of opinions were made from that genuinely bad build. And that's a little bit unfair.
Reaver bad.
Yeah, it was genuinely bad, but because of how bad she was numbers-wise, we didn't actually get to explore her kit properly, which meant we defaulted into playing like next to our tank and just hack-botting the tank. And that's where a lot of people like got the idea from how bad Sombra was. And around then was, I think, also when Lip tweeted about it, and that was entirely fair. But then we got the build that we that was slightly buffed from live, which is the preview build. And in that build, we kind of got the glimpse of how it was supposed to go. I played a lot of versus AI. And then I was semi-pessimistic about it, aside the numbers. I think my opinion was Sombra is good, just the numbers are maybe on the low end, so people are going to struggle. And then I got to play her against like actual human beings, and that's when everything clicked together. And that was like the week before the new season launched. So there was a lot of weeks in there where there was a lot of negative opinions about Sombra. And I don't think enough people like explored the new version of Sombra afterwards to then correct their opinion afterwards. I'm not saying people are wrong, but a lot of opinions were made off of old information, and that kind of stigma does carry over into live
100%.
afterwards.
100%. So I guess this is probably the nastiest question I'm going to ask, which is, what was the problem with initial Sombra, if you think that there was a problem at all? Because obviously she's been, I mean, off the top of my head, one of the most reworked characters in Overwatch history, maybe the most reworked character in Overwatch history, with the amount of significant tweaks she's had, from farming health packs to the longer hack to her Overwatch 2 rework and to the now what we have now. Let's focus on, I guess, the most recent iteration of Sombra before the current rework. What were issues? Put yourself in Blizzard's shoes. What, in your opinion, were the issues that needed to be solved? Was it the permastealth? Was it the translocator? Was it the hack? I know Questron's opinion on this one. Was it EMP? Was it the uptime, the downtime? It feels like there's just infinite things to talk about here. Let's start with you, Ruben. I mean, what were your initial problems, if any, with Sombra prior to the current rework?
This isn't a problem that I ever had with Sombra, because I loved this aspect of Sombra, and I'm sure a lot of other Sombra players love this aspect as well. But translocator was a really big problem for people picking up Sombra, because they saw translocator, they saw the ability to hack health packs, and they're like, oh, I'm supposed to hack a health pack and put my translocator on here and then do my thing. And then they would spend like 8 years walking from a translocator on a health pack to the fight, and then they would translocate out, and they would repeat this, and then they wouldn't get punished because they wouldn't die for this, but they would be actively useless while doing this process. So for new players, and not even for new players, but like a lot of people who pick up Sombra and they weren't Sombra players, they would have this habit of putting their translocator really far away from the fight and then having really terrible uptime, resulting in, you know, them not having a great time with winning games because their team is 4v5 most of the time. That was one of the big problems. Another big problem that I think that I had, I really did not like that I had to hack people before shooting them and wanting to do anything to them, because it felt like there's a very specific dance that I need to do with every single engagement that I commit to. and it's I need to hack somebody, and then I can, shoot them, farm them for EMP, kill them, leave. I did not like that I had to hack somebody every single time. I also really hated Invis hack. I think Invis hack was always really, 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 really stupid, and I'm really glad that it's gone, because it's one of those things where it's like, it's awful to play against. It is awful to play against somebody that you can't see hacking you and then going back to Invis, and it's like, I don't know where they went. Or like, oh, now I'm getting beat up by this guy who just hacked me while being invisible. Even though you were visible while hacking, is still annoying, and I'm really glad that's gone. I think those were two of the biggest things about Sombra. Like, also with the translocator, it's kind of annoying to play against, even though I think perma-invis was maybe more of a problem with the previous iteration of Sombra rather than the translocator, but they went with the translocator route anyways, and I'm kind of happy with how it turned out. I think those are the three biggest things that Blizzard tried addressing, and they did, which I'm happy about that.
Sure. Yeatle?
Yeah, I didn't really play old Sombra that much, but I played plenty against her as someone who did play ball a lot. And I think the main issue I had with her was mostly just the invis hack, like Ruben said. I think invis hack just it wasn't very I guess the best way to put it is it wasn't very fair, right? Like since she's invisible and she hacks you, a lot of the time you can't react and cancel the hack. So it's kind of like she gets this double multiplier on you and you're cut out of the engagement. It doesn't even have to be just ball. Like any other tank, same story. Like a lot of them can't react in time to block the hack or even see it coming. So I think that was the main problem with Sombra. It just there wasn't much counterplay for Invis hack. So yeah.
Questron. Your thoughts on the rework?
Oh boy, I'm ready. All right. Okay. So fundamentally, I think perma invis is the problem. And I know it's easy to say that translocator is the problem because you constantly see Sombras do translocator runs, and they never die because of it. It's easy to say that hack is the problem because when you hack someone, they immediately die afterwards. But individually, those abilities are not good. Hack is only a second and a half of ability lockout, yet it is always the reason why you die, right? And that kind of thinking makes it hard to talk about what is actually the problem because it leads a discussion into things that I want to get away from, which is every other ability in our kit. My issue with Sombra has kind of always been that perma invis allows the Sombra player to always wait for the absolute perfect moment to engage or otherwise do something. And because of that, because of the like infinite margin of error, the ability itself is not allowed to be good. Therefore, you have to play with the things that are good in our kit, which is perma invis, and you have to rely on it. And in that way, your entire gameplay loop is a lot of waiting. Also waiting for the perfect moment to EMP, waiting for the perfect moment to hack. And it doesn't allow people to actually use her kit actively. It becomes like a really tedious way to play the character because even if you do get it then off, and you do get the perfect hack off, there's still a cleanse that can come out of literally nowhere because Kiriko can teleport through walls. And in the rework, I think they did kind of tackle the inactiveness of her kit, but the fact that perma invis is still there will still eventually lead Sombra to be something that people yell about and get angry about because they can still hack at the perfect moment. And like 1.5 seconds is not that long, but yet it's always at the center of the discussion, which is kind of annoying. But I do think the rework is good, but I wish they would have started off with stealth not being permanent and then figure it out from there. Because now, like in this version of Sombra, you can't just put stealth on a timer and call it quits on that. You do have to fundamentally build the kit around the fact that stealth wouldn't be permanent anymore. So I don't think there's a way to do that from here on out. So we'll just have to see how this kit goes, but I did wish that they put it on a timer and then see what happens.
Makes sense. Fitzy, your thoughts?
If we're talking about the problem of old Sombra, I think the devs wanted to tackle a couple things. First of all, I think they were really annoyed that annoying that Sombra could just get out of jail free, but at the same time was like it didn't like increase her value in terms of like, yeah, if you translocate all the way across the map and you're safe, you're dead for that whole time. So it's like I don't know that was really
Stop hacking
the
core. Sorry.
The core problem of it. But the problem, so like obviously she was played a lot in the pro scene because infinite stealth gives you a lot of information that the other team can't deny positioning wise. Like if you're playing at Sombra, you can never do like an off angle. One person's there to flank to when they walk in, you shatter them or whatever. And then at the lower ranks, yeah, she was worse because she just doesn't have like her damage is all from her gun. There is no damage. I mean, now EMP does damage, but like there's not just I shoot a rocket and do 120 damage. Now there is. But that was, a lot of heroes have that like, oh, I'll just randomly hit 100 damage doing spam or whatever. And Sombra's like, no, you got to sit there and shoot and track and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I think they did a good job at tackling kind of both the problems. She's not, if the enemy team, the higher you get, the easier it is with current Sombra, the higher you get, the easier it is for your opponents to kill you because you're like, oh, I'll translocate away, and then it's like Genji, Tracer, everything that can chase you will chase you. Now, granted, there's a little learning curve there of like figuring out the perfect translocator angle. Oh, the translocator hitbox is gonna hit that because it's bullshit. That's just enormous for no reason.
Language.
But are we not on cuss here or not? No, the hitbox is enormous for no reason. Obviously that was like that was previous. Like, oh, we want to make sure you can't hide the translocator in stupid spots, but like, okay, that's gone now.
Also, you guys are immune to CC, surely, right, guys? They fixed that bug for sure.
Oh yeah,
dude, you can totally EMP life weaver, guys.
I've not been pinned out of translocator or hooked out of translocator recently.
Those
or
are the only two that right now.
Okay, that's fair at least.
They did fix it. The sleep dart and what else was there?
I got shield bashed. I got shield bashed. I don't know, not recently, but I have been shield bashed before. So
there was Doom Punch, shield bash, anything that stunned you. If you threw the translocator and then got stunned, it was supposed to translocate you, but then it wasn't. But now it is. A lot of Annas have been like, what just happened? And you're like, that's how it was supposed to work. I'm sorry the devs didn't get it right the first time. It's okay. I had a Reinhardt shatter me and then I teleported and he was pissed. But oh no, I think he charged me. It was today. It just happened today. And he's like, that was BS, Sombra. I was like, all right, listen, that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm sure that's something they'll keep an eye on because depending on how slippery Sombra ends up being. But I mean, like, if Genji were to dash away, because it's the whole thing of like, it's not like you got shattered and then threw it. It's like you threw it before they did it. And that would be like if you Genji dashed away. So anyways, if they're gonna make the movement ability worse, that's where it was. It felt so bad. One of the test things, you would throw translocator and then you'd get hindered and then you would just stay and die.
The translocator would just break. That was an actual thing.
Yeah, it was so bad. And I was like, yeah, you guys, that feels so bad. Because you're like predicting it, right? Like you're like, I'm gonna throw this knowing they're going to use the ability. I still am close. I'm close. But anyways. So, and you still take damage, so it's not like it's 100% whatever. But anyways, so the problem, going back to the original question of what was the problem? Did they solve the problem? I think it's hard balancing Sombra for the whole range of Overwatch. I think the balance team should always target high rank, whatever. Like that they should be, if we balanced around like, oh, Bastion's OP and bronze, like we're just never gonna see him in high level play. But there's just some heroes that are like, they're gonna be better the lower you get. Moira, is one that people typically are like, oh, Moira's and Plat are so good because you don't have you have constant damage and healing and whatever. Meanwhile, obviously as you get higher and higher, she gets less and less value. So again, to answer the question, I think the building blocks for it is good. They just need to figure out a way to, if they want to balance for every rank, they need to figure out a way to give Sombra a higher value at higher ranks, like a skill ceiling, whatever. And then that won't affect lower ranks.
Yeah. It feels like right now it's like you have to be very careful because there's always that threat that the enemy team just goes Zenyatta and you literally do not let him play the game. right? And it's like, well, but then you have
Good.
like Ruben was saying, like you have the four horsemen of the apocalypse, right? Where it's like you got your Baps and the Yaris, and it's like there's nothing that you can do, or if the situation. To me, I think the challenge is that kind of going back to what Questron was saying, and even what Yeatle was saying with the hold hack from his Invis is like when you have permanent stealth, they're going to have to balance around that. You can be anywhere that you want, really, at any point in time, so that will allow you to choose the best position. But then to compensate, you have to kind of make certain aspects of your kit a little bit weaker, which can make it feel very bad. Where if choosing the best position on the map does not give you a significant advantage, then Sombra is going to struggle because that is where her advantage lies. If I'm playing into a composition that isn't really scared about getting flanked or off-angled on, one of those supports that we were talking about earlier, then Sombra's going to have a really hard time. Not only is she going to have a hard time securing kills, but even that indirect ball-like value that Yeatle was talking about, there's a lot of risk about going for plays like that. With current translocator, with the current function of the hitbox and how long it takes, and even the lack of sustain that she has. So it's like you're kind of bullied into, required to go for more aggressive plays. But if the enemy team takes any sort of initiative, whether it's composition or positioning, to stop you from taking those aggressive plays, there isn't really a very good alternative right now because so much of her kit does revolve around the self. At least that's my opinion. So she's on a really tricky balance right now. She's in a really tricky balance right now because you can't buff her too much. Otherwise, she's just going to spend a lot of time in silvers one-shotting squishies over and over and over again. Yeatle, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
As far as like if she's needs to be buffed or nerfed,
I guess more of, do you think that the rework addressed some of those issues that we talked about, like you were bringing up earlier?
yeah. So I feel like, let me think. I think one thing, like I said, the main problem I had was the whole invis hack thing, and it's still like since the hack time is so fast. I'm thinking specifically like if you're playing a hero like Ball, right?
Sure.
I know earlier Questron said that the hack is overrated, whatever. But as a tank, like your whole play style is you got like this whole setup phase, and then you got to go for this engage, which takes like 10, 15 seconds, whatever it is. And just to get hacked and your engagement to be gone is massive. So I think that's kind of the problem that we were having before, but it's not as bad because now the Sombra is a bit more committed to it, right? Like if the Sombra goes to hack me, then okay, hey, now I can go kill the Sombra. She's not going to teleport across the map, type of thing. So I think that's a little bit better, but I do think one thing that they kind of introduced now is that the damage from coming out of stealth into virus and shooting somebody is kind of crazy sometimes. Like, for example, nobody plays Zenyatta in my games. Like they swap off Zenyatta so quick because I don't even have to hack him. I can just virus him and shoot him. Like I don't hack the Zenyatta. Usually I'll hack other targets, but Zenyatta, virus and shoot him. It's so quick of just coming out of stealth and basically bursting somebody down. So I think that's the new problem that they introduced, that her TTK, like with the virus, is a little bit too fast. Overall, it's not that bad. I just think that like virus shouldn't tick as fast. Maybe the same damage, just not as fast. That way people have a chance to heal a little bit more.
Can I
in
interject
certain
really
instances.
fast here? Because I think what you brought up a really interesting point where like maybe the DOT takes a little bit slower, the time to kill isn't quite as fast. But I feel like I feel like this is another SVB podcast because every time we talk about the support immediately comes up because what I noticed is that the DOT, the time to kill is crazy fast unless you have something that has burst healing. And then all of a sudden the DOT is almost irrelevant at that point in time.
Or any kind of healing, honestly. If Soldier has a heal station up and I virus him, that pretty much out heals the virus itself. I don't think virus itself is too strong. It's just again the perma invis. If you go out of invis at the perfect moment to virus, then they can't do anything about it because you waited out the abilities that would counter it. Then it would happen very fast that they die.
So for a while, I thought Soldier was a counter to the new Sombra, but he's absolutely not. He's like one of the best hack targets in the game. You hack him and you virus him, he's dead. Like it's not even a close 1v1 at all. So that's one of those things where it's like a hack first versus virus first. Also, somebody getting mercy healed, like an Ashe, for example, if you hack virus, you can kill them through the heals. It's just like the really strong heals. Maybe like they get onated and then shot or something like that. Then it's a little bit harder. But a lot of the heal types, if you hack virus, you kill them. That's what I've noticed.
Interesting. So do you think that, like, what do you think that the current issues are then? ignoring maybe the balance for right now, do you think that this rework has solved more problems than it's fixed?
Um, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. But to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure because, like I said, I think it created like one little tiny extra problem now where she can really burst somebody down, and I'd imagine that's really. You guys have spawn camped. You guys have spawn camped plenty, right? Everyone here
Oh
has
yeah,
spawn camped
Of
like a million
course.
times more.
I dabble.
And I think it's kind of okay. It just, for example, like what I said with the virus, if the time to kill was a little bit like the virus didn't tick as fast, same damage, just slower. I think they might have a chance. Like the Hanzo would have an extra shot to get in on you, or like
We don't need that.
maybe they make it to a health pack. Yeah, I know we all hate Hanzo here, but
Worst example to pick. You could have
Right
picked
now, it's
anyone
pretty
else.
brutal.
Pick Cassidy.
the Hanzo example is pretty brutal, man. Hanzo just gets destroyed. But
All right, devil's advocate
He's
here.
a sniper. He's supposed to be. You get
Devil's
close to him.
advocate. What if the spawn camping is more of a stealth issue than a time to kill issue?
yeah, I mean, it could be. That's definitely one direction you can go with it. I think
you could
still
go
spawn
both.
camp even without stealth.
That's
though.
That's true. I think maybe it could go both, but it's just something to consider.
Yeah,
Ruben, what are your
sure.
thoughts? Because you brought up some of your issues this summer, but we didn't really get your thoughts on whether they've been addressed or not. So what do you think?
I think she definitely has a lot fewer problems that need to be addressed now. I think reworking translocator into a good omnidirectional blink, I think that solves a lot of the pain points in dealing with Sombra, because now you can shoot her, she translocates away, you can chase her down, you can still kill her, you can still do something about her. Whereas a lot of time before, I mean, I love translocating away and not being in any danger. It was great. But that isn't really a problem anymore. Stealth is definitely the thing that gets people spawn camped. Without stealth being on an infinite timer, it would be so much harder to spawn camp people. It would still be pretty easy. Like if it was a cooldown, for example. Okay. Veering off a little bit. I am really, really, really surprised that they made perma-invis more perma-invis than before. That really surprised me how they're like, yeah, I heard you guys complaining about perma-invis. Now it's a passive. Now you're
That did surprise
really
me.
perma-invis. That really, really, really caught me off guard. But yeah, that is definitely the thing that that makes spawn camping so powerful. And I don't think the DPS of virus is a problem at all whatsoever. I don't think that I don't think it's a problem because Sombra really shines in 1v1s where people aren't getting help, but in every other situation where they do have access to medical assistance, for example, then virus, I don't really see it as it doing damage. I see it as, okay, I virus this person and now they're getting less healing than before, and now I'm able to kill them with my gun a little bit more easily because they're getting less healing as a result of the virus. And I also don't think that my personal experience with the virus is I don't think it does too much damage either, because I don't really hack people that often. The main reason why I'm hacking people is usually to disable their movement or their get out of jail free card, and not for the virus damage. Because if virus damage is the thing that I'm thinking about, I'm like, well, I can just shoot my gun at them and that'll do more damage rather than taking the 0.65 seconds to hack them. Which, Yeatle, I really like how you described how you take 1v1s with Soldier, because I approach Soldier completely differently. Soldier, I think, is like my favorite 1v1 in the game right now, because I won't hack him. Sometimes I might hack him, but usually I won't hack him. Usually I'll engage the 1v1 with Virus, and then I will win the 1v1 if I dodge the Helix Rocket. If I dodge the Helix Rocket with my Translocator, which, by the way, I'm so happy that they made the change where Translocator immediately TPs you if you hit the floor or a wall, because before, when we were testing it, it would bounce and it would sit there and you would have to wait for the 0.25 seconds to run out, and it felt terrible. But yeah, I'll just like dodge the Helix Rocket and then I'll be like, okay, now I can win because
Y'all's aim's too good.
Cool play.
I can't hack into virus. I miss it every time. I give them any second 80-80 strafe, I'm done. I'm screwed, man.
I gotta interject.
Please.
You gotta trust me on this, or just try it next time. if you hack Soldier and then Virus, he won't even be able to heal station or
No, yeah,
Helix
the
rocket. He'll
1.5
just straight up die.
I don't know where
straight
y'all
up
playing
die.
against these soldiers, but like if a 1v1 lasts more than 4 seconds, someone else helps him out.
It doesn't even last 4 seconds. Like you
It
will
won't
kill
last
him
4
before
seconds.
the
With a
hack
heal
ends.
station, it will.
Before it happens.
You will kill him before the hack ends.
Well, I kill him before the hack ends. Anyway.
Yeah, I kill him before he even lives.
But like I swore by the cube, okay? I worship the cube.
I love
Like
the cube.
I think I spent like 70 hours of just being like, yeah, cube first, 90% of the time, trust me on this, guys. But then I tried hacking again, and I realized like there's so many 1v1s that aren't even close if you hack and then you land the cube. That's the hard part, landing the cube after you hack. But if you land it, it's like 1v1 over.
Yeatle's
I
hack build.
generally hack
The
the soldier
soldier one
to
is
bait up the
not
heal
close if you
station.
hit it.
And
But I love the soldier one because I mean I still win it because I'm the GOAT. But like, oh, I love it so much. It's so fun. It's also I love dodging Cassidy nade. Dodging
that one
things
is
with
fun.
Translocator feels so cool.
Yeah.
So Yeatle, I gotta go
I agree with that.
backwards. I gotta go backwards. Do you not find? I mean, obviously you gotta land the cube, you say, but do you find that opening the opportunity to strafe the virus have you noticed that's an issue?
Yeah,
Or do you think it's just an aim
100%.
issue?
No, 100%. They can strafe it a little bit better. A bit of it is an aim issue too, because I like to like flick every time I go for the cube. But I've learned that if you hack them, don't go for the flick. Just like almost track it basically. But yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both for sure. It's definitely way harder to hit the virus if you hack them, because then they're like, okay, now I'm gonna strafe. Somebody's on me. I'm gonna strafe now. So
Sure. I've
Yeah.
noticed open with hack when the only way that you're going to get the kill before they get healed is with a burst, and then you have to go for the hack first, kind of like the high risk high reward. So, Questron, we heard your problems with the summer rework, but you're the only one that I haven't had a chance to ask your thoughts on whether the rework actually addressed some of the issues. What are your thoughts?
I think it did address the issues that they were trying to fix, but they did it in a way where it like forces any alternative ways of doing anything out the door. So my main gripe right from the get-go was that when Translocator was put on like what it is now, the options of being able to use it strategically, like putting it around corners or baiting someone to walk to your Translocator and then translocating to then get the jump on them after they thought they got away from you. Those kinds of things are all gone, and they forced the only way to play with the Translocator to be exactly how they want you to. And that removed a lot of the variables, but the thing that is left over is fun, I will say. And they got about like 70% of her kit. They nailed 70% of her kit. I think this kit is definitely the best version of Sombra in Overwatch 2 for now. Like compared to like last season, I would definitely say like a major improvement in all regards. The one thing I don't really like about her kit is how her kit is designed to get picks away from the enemy team. So if the core of the team, I'm gonna be abstract about this. If the core of a team is like right here, and then there's a character right here, Sombra will kill this one 100% of the time. So that forces people to slowly group up more and more. And in high ranks, that adjustment in playstyle happens really fast. So like when you start on Sombra, things go well for the first 2 fights, and then they adapt to it, and then you just suddenly start losing every fight, and that's because they start grouping up more and more. And then the way that their kit is designed is that when everybody starts grouping up because you're dangerous, that's when you hit the EMP when you've herded everyone together or force them to play that way, and then they have to disperse again, and then you're back in an advantage. And that back and forth, kind of like an ebb and flow, whatever, if you want to be abstract about it, doesn't work because of how long it takes for EMP to charge. Everything outcharges EMP in ultimates, and every countermeasure is available before you get EMP. So when they group up, it's already too late for you. The idea is that you EMP right when they group up, and that way keep an advantage going. But because of how long it takes for EMP to build, that's not possible. So that would be my one buff. Everything else, honestly, is fine. But EMP just charges way too slow.
Makes sense. So Fitzy, I want to go back to you with our final question before we get to the Q&A. I hear you've got a spreadsheet. So I assume that you've got some thoughts on not just the 1v1s.
Actually, someone in my chat put in a spreadsheet. I kind of did a paint. I had a paint. I'm just generally having, because I'm sure you guys have all got the question of why not hack before virus?
Oh.
And essentially, the answer is a couple different things. Like Yeatle was saying, is like 90% of the time you're doing virus. Like it's consistent damage. You land it easier because, like you mentioned, if you hack someone, they do the strafe and then you miss it. It does take a little bit of time with leading with the virus to get used to the delay of coming out of invis and then doing it. So I just kept on like trying to practice the like coming out of invis, because it took a bit where you're like, oh, I want to shoot the virus, so I click it, but you have to like hold it and wait till you come out of invis and then it goes. So anyways, but the spreadsheet is pretty much just going over like the different matchups. I think one of the matchups that is the most interesting, and it's whether or not, you know, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to bait cooldowns? Are you trying to get a kill? Are you trying to spot? Like, there's all these
Wrecking
different
ball.
situations,
right?
But as a like, if a Baptiste is alone, if you try to hack virus, I can never kill him. I can't kill him in time. So I don't know, you know, how you're killing a soldier with a hack virus, because
No, for Bap, I agree. I think if he's alone, you just virus him. There's no point. But if he has
because
healers nearby, then I'll hack.
So, but you said that you finished the soldier kill before he's able to use healing station.
Yep.
That's a second.
So how do you not kill Bap in that time?
I think Bap, like if he's alone, he'll
Bap has a bigger hitbox.
Immortality like immediately. That's why.
Is it the animation at the healing station?
Like, when soldier drops the healing station, he like dies. I guess that's what I more so mean. Like,
so if you hack him and he drops the healing station in that time, he's dead. Can kill him. Okay. Yeah. Because for me, it's like I'm not even gonna bother, because I'll just virus shoot and I kill him. I don't have to dodge a rocket. You just don't stop shooting. The time that you spend to translocate, you're wasting time. Same with Bastion. If you try to like dodge it, like you just virus shoot him and he's gonna die. There's nothing he can do unless he hits the mine and then you just translocate it. But going back, so like Baptiste is like, you virus. If you want to get the kill, if you virus and then hack, if he does not do anything in that time, which obviously is like a longer time, whatever, then you can get the kill, because the virus has already done 25 damage, and then the hack speeds up the rest of the damage, and then you get the kill. Because if you hack and then virus, you're spending
0.65.
No. If you finish the hack, there's the 0.4 seconds that you're finishing the hack animation, and then you have to shoot the virus and land the virus, which is 0.31 seconds or whatever. So you're wasting 0.31 seconds, plus having to like make sure you aim and hit it. So
and
you
out
like
of
hack.
Stealth.
What?
And going out of stealth also is
You come out of stealth during hack. So hack you lead with hack, you finish the hack, then you have to take that time, your precious 1.5 seconds you have to spend throwing the virus. Okay. And then, you know, you've lost out on the 0.3 seconds of not only the virus damage, but also the shooting, because you're not shooting because you're casting the animation. But if you virus, then you hack, then right when they get hacked, right when that 1.5 seconds starts, they're already taking the faster damage. Plus, they already took some of the damage initially, and then you can shoot right away.
I gotta try that one. That one's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, it's harder to finish the hack because they can interrupt it. Easier to land the virus, and then but it's like if you virus and you hack and then they shoot you, you're just like, okay, whatever, it's fine, not a big deal. You still did the virus damage. You can still shoot them, because that's gonna happen anyways. You're gonna shoot him, and then like you shoot him, and he just, you know, regenerative burst, whatever. So anyways,
notice that with Widowmakers too. You know, if you're like at the mid range, you can virus first, because the virus travel time means that you can actually already start lasering her head. But if you're at point blank range, you start shooting.
But there's no point to hack Widow, because she can't heal herself.
No point hacking.
So that was why, like, Baptiste is a very unique that I've found so far. There might be some heroes that you do it where you, again, virus, hack, shoot. But everybody else is like, you default to virus, hack, except for like, I will say, before I got to really play her, you know, I was like, oh, who's Sombra going to be worse against? I was like, man, Tracer, Genji, Moira, they're going to be... She's pretty good against Tracer. Like, it's like, if you get the initiation, if you land the hack, they're like very almost dead. Like Tracer is like, yeah, you know, she can recall if you don't hit. But if anybody else looks at him during that, you can kill him. Lucio's interesting because, yeah, he could chase you if you miss the virus. But like, if you land the virus or you land the hack, then he's in
Would Kiriko be the same as Baptiste potentially?
Kiriko can kill you though.
Kiriko can kill you
Bap
3
can't
times.
Burst kill you. Yeah, Kiriko can just 2-shot you and you're dead. Bap is like da-da-da, you're dead. There's enough time. But yeah, Kiriko's like she can also blink away. So, and her hitbox is skinnier, so you can't kill her with virus.
Yeah.
But anyways, virus hack, yes, you can go for it. But yeah, it's just not as consistent as BAP, and a little higher risk in terms of just time to kill, whatever. But I think that was everything I want to say about hack for the most part. Yeah,
So
hack and virus combo.
Go ahead, Questron.
I actually really like that they added a new ability entirely to her kit, because I know we were talking about Kiriko there. That's a good example for it. If now there's a lot of like variables to when you can use what. So like if you see a Kiriko TP in, then you can bait her Suzu using one of your two abilities and then still go after it. So then very often when I see a Kiriko TP, I go for a hack, wait for her to use an ability, and then I go for the virus and kill her off that way. There's a lot more variables to actually like counterplay characters now, instead of just like hacking someone because you have to for whatever reason and then kind of seeing what happens in a 1v1. So a lot of things can be chalked up to skill issue, and this is now going to be the reason why I brought it up, but not Lifeweaver. I don't like Lifeweaver. I really don't like it. Aside the bug that can literally vaccinate you against EMP, there's no direct kit interaction that Sombra can do anything about, especially tree. Once like Lifeweaver builds up tree faster than Sombra gets EMP, Sombra gets to do literally nothing against it, and one pulse of the tree, placing the tree down, immediately out heals EMP. So it completely neutralizes Sombra. Straight up, every time Lifeweaver trees, I just wait it out now, because there's nothing else I can do. I can't go for anyone. I can't shoot anybody. I can't even like prep for the fight afterwards, because there's also overhealing that stays for after the tree. And then if you go for a Lifeweaver can pedal up. Lifeweaver can grab someone else to help him out. If you go for someone else, Lifeweaver grabs them away. If you go for the Lifeweaver and he doesn't have grab, he can also dash to get an extra 50 HP. And you can't even headshot him from the back. I don't like Lifeweaver, and I don't think enough people are talking about how much Lifeweaver actually directly, stupidly hard counters Sombra's kit. Lifeweaver himself isn't strong. He's not busted. He's not 60% win rate. He's none of that. But he does fundamentally, by design, counter every individual aspect of Sombra's kit. And I don't like that at all.
Also, the nice delay in hacking pedal, where you hack pedal and you sit there for like a solid 2 seconds before the pedal actually breaks, is super fun too.
Interesting.
And they didn't fix the EMP vaccination bug. There were two variations of it, and the main variation of using a pedal platform in Spawn, that got fixed, but there's another version that's a little bit harder to pull off, but does still happen. For ethical reasons, I'm not going to be explaining it on stream, but it does exist, and it does happen, just less often. The bug is still very much there. So I don't like Lifeweaver, and that's all I wanted to say, really.
I guess this is a little bit of an impromptu question, but while we're on this topic, is there any hero or compositions that you guys in particular have been struggling with? Maybe not.
If I have a Genji against a Reinhardt, that's a free loss.
I feel like Lucio May, they just play so quick. The way I like to play Sombra is I like to set up her backline a lot. So like they go off like one quick engage, wall off my tank or whatever, and it's like I can't do anything quick enough. Like I can hack the Lucio, but like if I don't do it in time, it just the fights happen so quick that I can't find value with the way I play.
It's kind of like what Ruben was saying earlier, where it's like that problem of, you stage for backline, the old Sombra, but we still have a little bit of that now, where you still want to go for backline, but by the time you get there,
yeah.
GG's. Okay.
In those scenarios, that's where you would actually want to play for EMP, is the idea. Because Lucio and May are going to be playing together. It's very rough. They're going to be running in. And that's when you build EMP for when they run in. You EMP the moment they are there. But now it takes 2.5 minutes for me to charge EMP pretty much on average. And that is just way too much time. That's like 2 ultimate cycles for any other character in the game. That's too much.
Yeah, it's really weird to play against, too. Because, like, what do? Are you just going to stand with your team as Sombra? Like, as they rush you and translocate out. So it's like, what are my options, really?
Sombra 76 is
supposed to be EMP.
Sombra 76 is bad, as my hot take.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a giant misconception with Sombra 76. Okay, so a lot of people are using that because I'm pretty sure I introduced it like 9 months ago. I said it in a video, and then I started seeing it everywhere. I don't want to claim it, but if I did, my bad. I didn't mean to. I think a lot of people are misunderstanding. Yeah, Sombra 76. Unless you've been saying it for years. I've been
talking about that for years.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, then you introduce that. Okay,
jokes on you guys. My birth certificate says Sombra 76, so I got all of y'all beat.
John Spilo Sombra 76.
Yeah, exactly.
Sombra 76 is when that is kind of like a bad description of bad Sombra gameplay, because that is when mentally any other hero in the same situation would be performing better than Sombra. Sombra's weakest is her not using a translocator, hack, or virus. That is her at her weakest. She's just standing at the front line shooting the Reinhardt, not able to do anything else. That's Sombra 76. It's not just being at the front line or walking with your tank. Sombra 76 is just raw damage, and Sombra always loses the raw damage one duels or fights because Tracer can get better off angles faster. And if a Sombra is in the position of a Soldier 76, that is her at her lowest impact, is the idea behind it. And now people are kind of using that for every scenario in which you don't use your translocator, but that's not the same thing, because then Sombra still has her value and options. So it's a little gripe I just wanted to throw out, but Sombra 76 that's only for the bad moments, really.
The way I look at it
is
is
that we have different definitions of what a Sombra 76 is. But
Oh, damn.
When did we start playing soldier in the front line?
Wow, that's
When you
true.
do shield
You-
break,
my number one
you
question.
have to hold an
Why are you
angle.
not on the flank.
Yeah.
You have to hold
Yeah.
an angle. You have to hold an angle. The way it was played in previous times was you would hold an off angle and you would pressure the tank line and or threaten hack on anything that goes aggressively. And you do that versus Winston. Diva is really good. Wrecking Ball is really good. Doomfist is really good. And you would usually specifically need a DPS backline that you outrange, like a Genji Tracer Reaper, something like that. Problem is now there's already a niche within Overwatch 2. Good in certain circumstances, bad in others. But now with probably a good change, but a change nonetheless with the Opportunist. Was it Opportunist the 30% damage boost on hack?
yeah, and
1p5.
25.
You feel that a lot, which is good. I mean, I don't want to be motivating people to have to hack. We've talked about that already, but it definitely feels like, I think people talk about, oh, you just sit inside your backline and hack and the new damage from Sombra is insane. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, it's insane, but you have to be playing more. I found like even Virus, right, is something that it's irrelevant to a tank almost entirely. So I think
Yeah.
you have to be threatening assassinations more so, which is a good and a bad thing. It does limit playstyles a little bit. I think the main thing is, I guess this goes back to Yeatle. It's all Yeatle's fault. Talking about those Lucio May comps is it does limit your options in those situations.
Yeah.
I think against Sigma is one, like if you both are playing Sigma, then you just shoot the shield and he goes for the suck and you cancel it every time.
Mm.
It's very strong.
Virus, higher percentage of his HP too. No armor either.
I'm sorry?
I was going to say Virus is more of a percentage of his HP as well, and no armor. So if you hack Virus's Sigma, it's not great, but it's not as bad as I guess with other tanks.
But yeah, it's pretty much like, since you can't get your hack denied because of you have a shield, and yeah, they just literally can never land a suck. You just shoot the Sigma shield, keep shooting them, force suck, go for it.
Interesting. Any other heroes that you guys have been struggling with or compositions?
Torbjorn.
just
Reason
Virus the
being-
turret 2 or 3
I
times.
actually
or
like
4
playing
times.
against
Yeah.
Torbjorn more than before.
Well,
Because
yeah,
you only have one
because
hack back in the day.
Have you guys had the Torbs do that bug with the turret where you hack the turret and then they just replace it immediately?
Oh, that's not a bug.
it's
That's
not.
intentional.
What?
Because it's not taking damage.
But Pylon, it works with Pylon. You can hack Pylon and they can't move it.
No, they fixed that, I think.
No. Well, unless they're just not doing it, the Alaris
Yeah.
is.
I don't think the
Oh,
notification
shit.
is like visual or loud enough
Now-
for them to.
I mean, I am going to try to push to be like, if you hack the turret, they shouldn't be able to just instantly replace it. But yes,
Yeah.
that has been around forever.
Oh, it's
Ouch.
terrible.
Yeah.
That is rough.
And that's where it's like, I've actually been kind of theory craft a little bit or whatever. It's like, maybe you like stagger the turret, like you hack it and then get it low and then you wait for it to not be hacked and then you virus it. So then your virus is up. But anyways, yeah. So how old Sombra worked, and it's funny. I was the one, for all you Torbjorn players out there, I was the one that was like, you shouldn't be able to get shot while you're invis hacking somebody by a Torb turret, because I was like, literally, because the whole thing is like, oh, you can hack while invis. Blah, blah. This is the beginning of Overwatch 2, and I was like, yeah, if they pick Torb, you're just useless. You can't hack the turret, and you have to kill it, and then come back in, and he just puts another one down. So they made it so that the Torb turret does not target you if you hack during stealth. Now that doesn't work because when you hack, you come out of stealth and they shoot you. So it turns into this, you have to kill the turret, but you hack the turret and then he just replaces it. So then you have to shoot the turret. But before, you would, like, at least for me, I would put translocator down. You'd go in, you get point blank range, you kill the turret, you translocate out, come back in, and you have that uptime. But now you have to like kill the turret, invis, translocate away, you come in, you like have like 2 or 3 seconds less time where that turret's not up. So yeah, I would be fine with them letting hack deny turret. I mean, she should,
Should.
right?
She
She's
should.
a hacking person on buildables. I feel like she should be able to, but yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Any other problematic heroes? Go ahead, Ruben. Sorry.
The 4 Horsemen really, really, really just piss me off. Because, I mean, okay. The most useful EMP I have gotten since the Sombra rework happened was I was playing with a Junker Queen on my team. And I'm like, yo, here's the plan. I'm going to EMP. They're going to Suzu. And then you can ult. So it's just, my ult sucks so bad. And Kiriko just Suzu's all the time, and then Larry just has her freaking 3rd healer up on the team at all times, and I either need to hack it or shoot it rather than like shooting an actual person and having an actual engagement with somebody. And then Lifeweaver just heals so much. Oh my god. Like, forget the tree. He just sits on top of a pedal the entire game, throwing out 75 healing orbs the entire time. And it's like, I cannot kill the person that he's pocketing, no matter what I've started doing against Lifeweaver. The only way that I figured out how to deal with him is he's sitting on top of his pedal. I will throw my translocator at him. I'm like, I'm tired of you. You need to get down from there. This is the only way I'm going to be able to do that, is if I translocate on top of your pedal, throw my cube at you, and then you heal my entire cube with your dash, and then hopefully you don't get help in the like last second of the engagement, and I'm able to kill you. And then
Counterpoint.
Baptiste,
Why not just
Go
hack
on.
the pedal?
Oh,
because that just takes too long. And
It's
I wanna
3-second
kill him.
cooldown.
well, I mean,
No,
if you
no.
hack the pedal and the Lifeweaver goes down, his teammates have a higher chance of having line of sight of Lifeweaver. If he's up on the pedal, it's also for his own team harder to peel for him.
That's
And
true. But they
Lifeweaver's
have a
not going to be able
Kiriko.
to kill me.
Ah.
He's not going to kill me. He doesn't do that much damage.
But Kiriko.
Yeah, Lifeweaver killing me on top of his pedal is not a worry for me, because he's not going to do that. That's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to die to Lifeweaver on his pedal. He's going to jump off the pedal and then be more accessible for everybody else on my team. That is what's going to happen every single time. I haven't like died to a Lifeweaver doing this silly little 1v1. But it's just, and then there's just like so much healing, because like I try to assassinate a lot. I think assassinating with Sombra is a lot better now, and it's so hard to do that whenever they're just pumping buttloads of healing into everybody. It's like everybody's peeling for each other, and I'm like, man, this sucks. This makes me sad. And there's no like, I can genuinely feel like I'm playing perfectly, but if they just have that support line, I would be doing more useful things on any other hero in the game. So I just like, okay, I have to swap, unfortunately.
The
I do wanna
assassination.
kind of-
Go ahead, please.
I do want to disagree on Iliari, actually, because no other hero in the game can reliably break Pylon as often and consistently as Sombra before a fight starts.
Yeah.
And Pylon right now is probably the strongest part of Iliari, even though she has her 2-taps on specific heroes. The Pylon is still definitely the thing that ruins like entire fights. If the Pylon is up for a full fight, the Iliari pretty much wins that fight. So there's like minor things that do add more counterplay than Sombra beforehand. Because in the previous version, you still only had one hack for the Pylon, and then you don't have hack if you can't break the Pylon in time or anything like that if you get pressured out. Whatever. There's more instances of possible counterplay even in the 4 Horsemen that you mentioned there. You can bait abilities with either hack or virus, and that on its own adds like 7 different layers of interaction between in actual 1v1s that I really think is very cool.
I think it's a question of just, Ruben supports OP. Sombra may have a tool better to deal with Iliari, but Iliari is still miserable as a DPS player no matter what you're playing.
Yeah, and she can also 2-tap me, and okay, let's say I do break the Pylon or I hack the Pylon before the engagement. That's still a little mini engagement that I'm taking, 1v1ing the Iliari Pylon that hopefully nobody's looking at me during. Hopefully
I
nobody's
just shoot my
literally
virus and
throw
do
the
3
virus
bullets.
and shoot,
Yeah. It's genuinely worth it. Just
throw
virus
the virus,
it.
I shoot. That's time that I spent shooting a Pylon instead of shooting a person, and I'm sad
But you
about
do it
that.
before the fight.
That's to an extent that's true, but I also think adding that type of dynamic isn't a bad thing outright. I don't think it's a bad thing to ever or to never shoot. Wait, what am I saying? I don't think it's bad gameplay to be shooting non-humans. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. If there's too many of them, like if they stack things on things on things, like they have a Sim, they have an Fitzyhere, they have a Torbjorn, and God knows if the next tank is going to have a placeable. If they have that many placeable, it can get tedious. But on its own, I don't think it's bad. I actually don't dislike having to shoot the pylon before a fight, because you know you're stripping away resources from the enemy team before a fight starts. I think that's kind of neat.
It's like you're baiting out a free
dislike it.
Suzu.
I dislike it because I'm not actively bothering a human being. That's my personal take.
I like the
quick
meta
take.
game that it brings.
Quick take. I think Virus should be able to do like 3 times the amount of damage to buildables. Boom, turret done.
I agree.
I think Varus should
Maybe
do
the
instant
Torb turret,
100
the Torb
damage to
turret.
buildables.
It's only Torb turret that's the problem. It's
Yeah.
just like
I think
When they
damage
get a
over
pylon
time.
and a Torb turret, you just can't do anything.
yes,
'Cause
you,
Yeah.
you kill the
pylon,
then
then
you
you kill the
kill
turret,
the
the
other
pylon's
one.
back.
Now, if you
Yeah.
could virus the pylon and hack the Torb turret, and he couldn't replace it, it would be okay. But
Yeah.
it's the fact that you can't kill both fast enough. So
I've had several rework ideas with some of the other characters that have all revolved around deployables. Like, for example, Reinhardt pinning a turret should break the turret. Winston, one of the things that people are saying is that Winston should do double damage, or at least 50% more damage to deployables. But I think in general, deployables are not very popular for various different reasons. So I guess we talked about 1v1s, we talked about the spreadsheet here. I guess we'll move on to the last question here. So I guess we could start with Yeatle here. Thoughts on future balance / buff / overall power state of Sombra? Like, if you were to like prioritize, like, I just think they need to look at not even necessarily any hard numbers, or you don't just general gut instinct. What needs to change with Sombra? Maybe not right now, but what do they need to look like moving forward? Whether it's Sombra directly or the environment of support, DPS, or tank as a whole.
I think for Sombra directly, like I mentioned earlier with Virus, I still am a firm believer that it should do the same damage, just a little bit slower for certain instances. That's in a world, of course, where like supports would get nerfed or something like that, right? But I do like Questron's idea of making EMP build faster. I don't think it needs more damage. I think a lot of people say that like EMP is bad, and compared to DPS ults, like it's pretty all right. It's not the worst. It's pretty all right, and it can confirm like a free kill if you do it right. But yeah, besides that, I think make the ult charge faster, and yeah, that's it.
One comment just on the EMP thing is that this goes again back to Yeatle is not fighting old Sombra habits, and so there is that like, oh, there's 5 mana. You just don't go for 5 mana EMPs. Like it,
Yeah.
So it is a little bit of like, it's bad. Well, it's just finding the use cases, and yeah, sorry,
It's not as good as it
continue.
used to be for sure.
Yeah.
But they buffed her kit in return, or
Sure.
her damage.
And
Well, I
I
think-
was just adding on like that you don't feel it as much. That's all.
Yeah, I
was saying.
wasn't a Sombra player. Yeah, for
But
sure.
I think that's also a thing because of how long it takes to charge. You feel like you're charging up like a giant laser gun that's supposed to wipe out a team. You know, you're building up a 2.5 minute ultimate for it to do nothing, pretty much. And it takes that long whether it has a lot of people in it or not. So it feels weird to build like an ultimate that takes longer than half a round only for it to be used to break a shield. That just feels wrong innately. So either it needs to be more powerful for it to build that long, or it needs to build faster for it to be comparable, like in terms of value for how long it's built.
Nobody would go to McDonald's and wait an hour for a Big Mac.
Yeah,
Basically
pretty much.
what I'm hearing,
Yeah.
right.
But I like a Big Mac. I like me some Big
Fair,
Macs. I
fair
do.
enough. Ruben, you sound like
Okay,
you were
can I
gonna
say one more
something.
thing?
Yeah,
Can I say one more thing?
please. Then
No.
I feel like oh, okay, well, Fitzy's not said
Dang
no.
it, man. These old crusty summer mains, man.
You
gotta
guys
watch
can
it.
tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I feel like Translocator needs some kind of like adjustment in the sense that like I'll turn around to translocate out and I'll always hit a wall, I'll hit a railing, I'll just die so much from just hitting
I have 2
random
points to
terrain.
this. 2 points to this. They changed how the animation works. I have a very good clip to show it off. If you press the translocator and you're spinning, and she's like starting to throw it, and it hasn't left her hand yet. It already did, but like it doesn't show that it left. And so like you'll be aiming somewhere, and like finally it'll release from your hand, and it won't go at that angle. It'll go like at a previous angle. Because they sped up the animation for it and didn't like something's weird there.
Yeah.
and also the hitbox is
You
stupid.
throw it before you throw it, basically. It's like before it leaves your hand, it's
It's
already
like
It
I
has zero
threw it,
cast time
launch.
now, right? I think it has no cast time.
Zero. Yeah, it's
just
The crazy
I
thing about the
totally agree
it's
with
hitbox.
when you're doing the spin. It's when
That's
you're
the
doing
biggest
the spin
zero I've
that you
ever
really
seen in my
notice
life.
it. Because there's time I have a clip. I'll show you the clip after. But I like I'm doing this thing. I'm fine. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go over here. And it was on the new map, whatever one of the new maps. And I throw it, and I was like, man, I went in the water there. Whatever. I watched the replay back, and it's like by the time that the translocator launched, I was like way out of like I was not going anywhere near the water, and then it just like and just goes straight towards it. And you're like,
Sometimes I still
now
see
wait a
Translator
minute.
bounce.
Do what?
I still see it bounce, even though my
I've seen that
translocator,
too.
like the server side translocator, is not in sync with the actual character's translocator. Sometimes I just like today, I saw my translocator actually just bounce off a wall, but I still went as if it didn't, and it just went over it because my cursor was above it. It's weird. It's a little bit offset.
Something weird is that the hitbox for the translocator is like it's actually like pixel accurate. So if you line it up with a doorway by like 1 pixel, it will go like the translocator will clip through the
depends.
doorway.
Sometimes.
No,
Sometimes.
the problem
Depends
is
on the
problem is
invis
the
wall
terrain.
hitbox.
That's what it is. That's what I'm trying to say. That it's not the translocator, it's the terrain sometimes. Like the hitbox will be way bigger than like the doorway, for example. So I feel like something should be fixed there, in my opinion.
See the wrecking ball brain with the terrain coming in, right? Like all the experience, all the door
Funny
frames
it
enough
and
is
the
that you
though. It
mentioned
is though.
that.
There's a lot of invisible walls, and you used to just like it would like bounce off of them, but now it just you just don't go anywhere. You just translocate immediately.
With Wrecking Ball's grapple, there was some problem with grapple where sometimes it would like no reg on a surface because it would count as a slope or a floor. And what they did to fix that is I think they prioritized grapple to go to the furthest point rather than like crosshair accurate. So I feel like they could do something with translocator. That way you're not translocating into walls.
It's a trajectory. It's like a projectile, so it's not.
Yeah, sometimes I want to hit the corner.
Oh, well.
I mean, I would just like for some more.
I'm just saying, like your thing is like, oh, it goes in a line. Okay, if it goes through a surface, just keep going. But like, I don't know. Maybe they could, because maybe the how Wrecking Ball works is it's like a trajectory as well, or
all I know is I
whatever.
die like at least twice a game from just like hitting a wall.
Oh yeah.
It's so annoying.
It is really, really punishing to miss a translocate. I feel like it should go here, and then it doesn't go there, and then I'm like, okay, I died because it doesn't feel like it's my fault because of a hitbox of either the terrain or the translocator, which is why I think it would be so nice. I definitely don't think translocator is a 0 width hitbox right now, but I definitely think it should be because it is incredibly punishing to accidentally hit a wall or something that's not where you want it to go.
Yeah.
And is that what you're
Sombra
going to say? 'Cause
going
that
into
could-
unintended locations.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Ruben, was that what you wanted to say earlier? Because I owed you something earlier. You were politely raising your hand.
Yeah. So not only do I want translocator to be a 0 width hitbox, if it already isn't, then screw the terrain. That is so silly how often it messes up. Another thing, it was about EMP when Yeatle was talking about EMP. You said something about how it's a free kill, like a free 1 kill, but it's not free because it's an ultimate, and also that's all it's good for. That is all EMP is good for is, okay, maybe not literally all it's good for, but usually what happens with EMP is you EMP and then few people are hacked and then you can virus somebody and then you can hopefully probably kill them. But I think it would be, because before a lot of the value of EMP was, okay, it disables their abilities for 1.5 seconds and you have increased damage against them. I don't think they should do more damage,
40% over 30.
Yeah, exactly. You do more damage to them. Oh, that's what I meant by you do more damage to them. Like your gun does more damage to them. And now that your gun doesn't do more damage to them, I don't think they should add that back because with 8 damage per bullet plus a damage boost on the gun, that would be kind of OP. What I think would be really cool to see is if EMP had an interaction with an ability in her kit. I think it would be really cool if you could EMP and then something happens with translocator or something happens with virus. Not necessarily you virus and then it is actual COVID and it spreads to everybody that's EMP'd. That might be a little silly, but I would like to see the devs be creative and do something with either virus or translocator so that something changes whenever you EMP. And also, yeah, I don't want it to take 5 years to charge because I feel like a bad player how long it takes to charge EMP, because I know this is old Sombra. I know if it's taken me a really long time to build EMP, I'm probably not playing well. It must be my fault, but it's not my fault. They just increased the ult cost by 30% in the past couple months, cumulatively. So it's like it just feels, it hurts my ego whenever I take a long time to build EMP now, and I don't like that. So please buff the charge rate of EMP, pretty please. Thank you.
What about a translocator reset on EMP?
Yeah,
What about a
I was
reload?
thinking. I was thinking reload.
Sorry, that's
I was
the one
thinking
I keep pushing.
Translocator reset would be pretty cool. Something with virus would be pretty cool. Maybe like virus gets buffed in some way. Maybe it does spread to the nearest person. And it's just actual like going outside in 2020 simulator. I don't know, something. Because right now it's just very lacking. I don't think buffing the damage of EMP would do much to fix the problems that EMP has.
If guys, I think somebody here has a question. If that's whatever. Anyway, I guess
Who could it be? I don't think anyone has a question. We should move on. Fitzy,
I have a question. I would like to ask a question. Yes, it's not really a question. I was toying with the idea. I didn't talk about it publicly or anything like that. It's just like some quick thought. I think EMP should be the anti-utility of her kit. Because right now, all the little items that you hack and shoot before you engage on people, that, you know, cuts into your virus and all that stuff. I think EMP should be built faster, but like EMP tree for starters, and then it should be more anti-utility instead of it being a proactive eliminator. I don't like having to use it as an engagement and then wanting that engagement to guarantee you a win just because you used EMP. And the more that we want that to be the case is the more that we want to the more often we ask for EMP to have a higher impact, the more often that's going to be the case. And I think that's, I don't know, I don't really like that kind of dynamic because the rest of her kit right now is so much fun. I genuinely think we should just wait for the EMP charge rate buff that they're definitely most surely going to be doing. Totally, absolutely. And then either lean more into like it breaking buildables and stuff like that, because like it already does shield break. I right now use it very often to just break Winston's bubble, or break Reinhardt's shield, or you know get all the utility, like get all the Symmetra turrets, break Symmetra's shield, hack Torp's turret in the middle of a fight so I can focus him, and all that kind of stuff to lead you to be able to just shoot the person and ignore the buildables because Sombra doesn't really have anything else in her kit for that. So in that way, if EMP isn't that valuable, having EMP more often to be able to do that in the middle of a fight more frequently kind of fixes most of her issues, in my opinion.
I will play
I don't know
devil's
if I
advocate.
phrased that well.
No, you did. I think you did. I think the only devil's advocate I'd play is that if you had a faster charging EMP that focused more on what it denied rather than what it enabled, you would have an EMP that would probably be used more often to counter enemy ultimates and just used to just screw you and screw you and screw you, which it's already pretty good at doing that right now. But imagine if that was the only way that you'd use it. It's like you just shut down every tree, shut down every single BAP window.
Is that not what Beat Drop and Transcendence
And the alternative to that is death
That's
is
true.
the best CC in the game.
That's true. So now we have the DPS
So
ult that's actually the
supports are
support ult.
annoying. Okay.
No, but then the alternative is that you kill them. And either my position is either you make it easier to kill people with EMP, or you create more opportunities for you to be able to kill people with EMP.
Sure. But the support ults
and
that
I
are
would-
usually the screw you usually charge slower is the one. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Slower or more charge?
I mean, in the case of Lucio's speed, I would say probably slower than most ultimates.
I
Tree,
think
that's another whole, you know.
Tree.
I think the skill issue should be for how fast you can build EMP, because that's what it was before for solo queue Sombra, pretty much. It was genuinely just to try and outbuild your ultimate before the enemy team's ultimate. And that was a really fun way to play Sombra. That's why I kept telling everybody to not hack health packs. It's better to die, because then at least you got every percentage of ulcers that you could possibly get out of an engagement, and have maximum uptime so you get EMP before the enemy team is ready to deal with the EMP.
You don't
And
have
that
maximum
added...
uptime if you're dead.
That's true, but that's why the rule is that you're supposed to be dead either second or or fourth. If you die first, you were too aggressive. If you die last, you were too passive. And then that way, figure out what the maximum amount of uptime is in every type of comp that you play into. But then the overarching idea is that you try to outbuild your EMP. And right now, that is not even part of a discussion. It should be within the realm, but it should charge, like an average player should charge their ultimate slower than enemy team support, but it should be within the ballpark of it, because that's pretty much how you can like figure out what the maximum efficiency is of the character's kit. Maximize damage, maximize uptime, maximize the limbs, and then also build EMP faster than the enemy team support. There's a whole game behind that then. But right now it's too far away. I don't think it should be built faster, just like at least get closer.
Thanks.
I'm not overly fond of the idea of EMP's primary purpose shifting towards shutting down utility more than it already does, because it already does. It's already great at that, but I don't like the idea of it doing that more so than it already does, because I feel like that would be especially terrible to play against. Like, you can set yourself up to have like a really great ultimate. Like, I don't think that EMP should cancel Blizzard. I think that's one thing that is a little silly in my opinion, because you're like, oh, I got a big Blizzard, but EMP now cancels it for some reason. I say this as the person playing Sombra, not as the person playing Mei. Also, I don't like EMP canceling Orissa's ult. That doesn't make any sense to me, because you can't cancel Fortify. No, yeah, you can hack Orissa's ultimate, but you can't hack her to cancel Fortify. So that doesn't consistency-wise doesn't make any sense to me.
One's a channeled one, one's a transformation.
But like, you still kind of channel.
It's like Visor. It's like Visor versus High Noon.
But like, Visor makes sense to me
because it's transformation.
Yeah, but like transformation of the I'm fortified. Oh, also I'm spinning my javelin in a circle.
I think the idea is that like it's consistency within the way the game is coded and the way the game is structured, but from an outsider's perspective, it doesn't make intuitive sense unless you actually look at how the abilities are like actually created, I think.
And yeah, now I can't EMP the hard light tree anymore. I think that's a gripe that we all have. Well, I mean the people in the call, not everybody else. I'm sure the support players are overjoyed about tree not getting, exploded when
I found Kiriko's ultimate to be one of the ultimates that I feel like should be EMPable, because of if you EMP the fox, at least, I don't know. But I also only brought up
really weird, because you can kill her to stop the rush from happening after she does it, but you can't stun it or hack it or cancel it.
You can't hack it
in any way besides killing her.
You can't.
You can hack it.
It's like frame perfect.
Like how frame perfect? Because
like you
it's like when
she
does her little
hand
once
to use her thing, and it's like
once her hand is fully exerted,
you get like what?
If you kill her,
guys, we need to stop this.
Hey, yo, back it
up.
Like
canceling pulse bomb.
You don't need.
You can hack pulse bomb.
Canceling
you can
pulse
hack
bomb is way easier though. Like the frame is way bigger.
Nano.
Well, that's like
you can also hack Kiriko TP. I do that surprisingly often.
You see her go like,
yeah, she jitters because it does think she's teleporting, but then it just stops it.
Great.
It's great.
Killing her doesn't need to be frame perfect. So why is that inconsistent? Unless it's just completely anecdotal evidence that I'm gathering, and it's the same period of time that you need to hack or stun or do whatever, and also kill Kiriko to cancel rush. I just think. I don't know. How did I start that sentence?
The EMP utility thing I only brought up if we're buffing EMP, what direction it should go into. I don't think right now EMP should need a buff. I think aside like impact-wise, I don't think it needs a buff. I like that it's not that powerful. I like that. I like how not powerful it is. It just should be reflected in the charge rate. That's my only gripe really with it, because it does EMP does kind of combat Sombra's current downsides in her neutral, which is when people group up together, that pretty much counters virus. Any amount of healing out-heals virus, pretty much. So if we're buffing EMP, I'd rather it be in the sense of utility and opportunity creating, instead of it just being a killing thing. Because, I mean, killing is the greatest form of CC in the game.
I agree with the killing thing. I would just, like I said before, I would really like to see some other form of engagement with her kit, so that it's not more of a killing. Well, okay, well, the virus change of use after EMPing like fire's potentially changing after you EMP. That I think would be cool. Or translocator. So then also added to the whole utility thing. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it should do more damage. I don't think it should help you do more damage with your gun. It's just, yeah, right now it just feels, I'm very whelmed whenever I EMP, and then BAP shoots the floor once, boom, it's good. Or no, you know what? Whenever I EMP and there's a Kiriko on the enemy team, I literally just healed the entire enemy team for an extra 20 HP. Because cleanse heals more whenever they have a negative effect that needs to be cleansed. That's how I
I'll
see
freak
it.
out when I read that in the patch notes. That was
No,
a good
yeah.
day for me.
That's how I see it. I heal the enemy. I actively heal the enemy team whenever I EMP. It's amazing. It's awesome. I love it.
You're now support, but for the wrong team.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everybody's been saying, oh, let's make Sombra a support. Well, now she is. You're welcome. There you go. Boom. Done. Easy.
Yo, here's a middle ground idea for like Lifeweaver's tree. Instead of blowing it up, what if it just like hacked it for a second, like a regular hack? That way you
Good
can
idea.
like burst somebody during the pulse. What do you guys think about that?
Here's
Depends
a
on how
question.
long we're talking.
What if like how long
a
does
regular hack?
how long does deployables last? 10 seconds hack? Deployable
something
hack
like
lasts
that.
for 10 seconds.
It depends.
Okay, it depends. Well, so then why?
No,
why?
deployables are typically 10. Yes.
Okay, so typically 10. Then, I mean, again, we're going to have to. I know Blizzard hates inconsistency with this, but what if for specific ultimates, you basically pause the duration, like Yeatle was saying? I don't think 1 second is good, but why not 2 seconds? Why not 3 seconds? Right? That seems to be at least a fair middle ground.
That would be cool.
I do think that the tree can be EMPable based on the fact that if you start a tree, so okay, the tree can be obviously be used to counter EMP, right? Like if you don't kill someone in 1.5 seconds, everyone has health and then they start getting over health. Your ult is wasted. Okay. So like tree can very easily counter it. And it lasts for a very long time. Like EMP, you have boom, that's it. And tree is like, yeah. And for ultimates such as like visor, blade, like you're using that, they use that. You at least are strong for those 6 seconds, whatever. EMP's like, you have a second.
Oh, Fitzy, they're hacked for 7 seconds. Don't you know? Like,
Yeah.
No, the hack for hack itself is a second and a half. You can see them for
Yes.
6 seconds.
Yes.
You can see them.
Isn't it 8 seconds?
Oh, 8 seconds. You can see them
see,
for 8
even
seconds.
better, guys. Even better. We're saying.
Honestly, let's nerf
it's
it.
8 seconds.
So previously with Lifeweaver, obviously he was very weak. He had 200 HP. He had 25 heal. I played a lot of Lifeweaver,
Gave
so
you a
I
health
know.
pack
I
when
loved
you
when people
healed
played
them.
Sombra because I knew what they were doing and it was fine and it was super easy. But anyways, 200 HP. Dash didn't heal as much. Didn't have shield health. Blah blah blah. So now the tree gives the overhealth. Tree didn't give overhealth either. So they would like put a tree and you would just EMP and they had nothing. But now, since the tree does give overhealth, if let's say they use a tree and 4 seconds have passed or whatever, and everyone has 100 overhealth, if you EMP and it were to delete the tree, they would still have 10 overhealth for 200 HP heroes. So I think it should EMP it. Obviously, I'm going to be biased. This was honestly something 2 years ago that when they first, or whatever it was, a year and a half ago, whatever, when they first told us about it, I was like, so is EMP or hack going to interact with the tree or petal? Because I was like, oh, buildables, cool. It's like a shield, whatever. And they're like, we haven't thought about that. Whatever. So I probably got that change put in, just saying.
I believe you.
But I think it should because, yeah, I mean, if you think back like at Lucio, like Lucio would beat drop and you would EMP and it would wipe it. Cool. Now it's like he beat drops and you have to wait for it to finish before you EMP. Because it doesn't delete. I think Lucios still feel like it deletes beat drop. It doesn't. You can just use it before, you can use it after. The tree is the same thing. You could use it before and EMP will just like neutralize it. Like it doesn't.
I'm okay with that though. I think because like
Yeah,
the neutral against the Lucio is very equal sided. You have options against
I'm not
Lucio,
saying that. I was just saying like previously, like
but that
Lucio
brings
used
me
it
into
before-
Lifeweaver because in the neutral against Lifeweaver you don't really have much, and the tree is also like that. Because the Lifeweaver also builds the tree up that fast. So I don't think it's that big a deal to be able to EMP it. It should be EMPable.
Right, and that's what I think.
Yeah.
That,
Additional proposition. what if, you know what, screw the tree. What if we just don't EMP the tree and it can't EMP the tree? But what if EMP just disables overhealth again? What about that? Just all overhealth in the game. I
My
think that'd be
consistency,
great.
though.
But
All
Zenyatta with
overhealth in the game.
Oh no!
Boom.
Zenyatta
Done.
again.
Zenyatta dead
with the
again.
virus?
Yeah.
Nah.
Oh, no. Not shield health. Not shield health. Overhealth.
Oh.
So like Lucio beat, Tree. You know what? Shield health too. Now that you
Brigida's
mentioned
done for.
The
good.
overhealth is a separate type of heal. It used to be shields that they just added on top. That's why it was EMPable. But now you can't EMP shield health anymore.
Yeah.
So to get my point in, because I haven't got to yet, very basic. Of what they should change about Sombra. Very basic. EMP either needs to charge faster, be stronger. That's just bare bones. They can do whatever, but it either needs to charge faster or be better.
Yeah.
We
can
go
all
into
agree on
details,
EMP
but
is
it just
poopy.
doesn't matter. Like, they're going to decide what they want to do, but yeah, it's just like
Sure.
everyone keeps saying, it's charging too slow for what it is. So,
Sure.
Yeah. I'm in the camp of have it charge faster but not be stronger. Although I don't think
Sure.
everybody agrees here.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, I think having the concept of a character with an already fleshed out kit having just an ultimate that just complements that kit better and allows you to continue to leverage that kit is an interesting idea. I mean, look at like Tracer Pulse Bomb, right? Like, I mean, I wouldn't describe that as a weak ultimate by any means, but it's an ultimate that doesn't. It just allows you to do what you already do, but do it better, right? It's not like it completely shifts your playstyle kind of a thing.
Big
so
words.
I guess, yeah. So I guess, go ahead, Fitzy.
I wanted to chime in one more time on alt charge cost is, if you look at somebody by Genji, I think we've all had a game where they reflect 2 Rhine fire strikes and then dash through and they have alt. Sombra does not have that capability to get their ult in 10 seconds. Like, it's just not possible. And so making it harder and harder to charge, or like longer and longer, is like, you don't have that capability to suddenly have it. So I don't know where exactly I was going with this, but just to throw it out there, like, she has no AoE damage. She has the virus now, so that's why I think they were like, oh, we need to make it charge longer. But it's like, but you also made it weaker, so it's like you can't double nerf it on the sense of like, oh, well, it's a game-winning ult, and it's like, clearly not, because that's what they said was like, oh, we want a game-winning ult to be less, charge less quickly, and it's like,
You guys
yeah,
want the
doesn't quite
spice?
do that with Suzu.
The fact that Sombra relies so much on health packs. I'm sorry, I'm triggering Questron over here.
No, that's fine.
It
That's fine.
does mean that you do steal a non-significant amount of ult charge from your supports over the course of a game, which reflects in the total amount of ult charge generated. So I'm not saying we go back to Overwatch 1 Sombra. But that would be an interesting like experimental patch idea. She gets 30% of the healing or 40% of the healing that she gets from health packs. She gets his ult charge.
I think she could do it where only she gets the alt charge.
I would agree with that.
That's what I
Yes,
was about
only
to
her.
100%.
I don't like this discussion direction. I don't like it. I don't
No,
say-
you're also
Come here.
not running to the health pack as much, but based on the amount of how much my supports are healing me right now, because they don't want to heal you because you're an invis. Dude, I don't care. I'm right in front of you. Just heal me. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to die.
I mean, that could be your faster ult charge rate right there. I mean, imagine, how much healing that you get, 300, 400, 500 healing probably per ultimate, if not more.
It's lower than you think.
Maybe. Well, but for every EMP, I guess I would say.
A bad thing that I'm going to admit is whenever I'm hacking a health pack and I need HP, I still wait for the health pack to be done being hacked before I pick it up, as a habit from Overwatch 1 Sombra when she got ult charge.
Honestly, I do that
From
because I
hacked
walk
health
over it.
packs.
I don't think it's that. I think if you walk over it, it cancels the hack sometimes. That might be why
Yeah,
you're doing
I've
it.
had that issue.
No, it's definitely because of the ult charge thing. Also, I want to pad my healing stat. On like, dude, I have like 500 healing. Reinhardt, what are you doing? I don't know.
So before we go too far along down the world's biggest segue,
I
we
have
were.
one more point.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
I'm sorry, but it was never even brought up.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to attach on to what Fitzy was talking about with EMP, why it was charging slower. I think it has to do with the fact that percentage-wise damage boost on any hero that you hack on a tank would give you more ult charge than if you virus them right now, because virus is a set amount of damage, which means that percentage-wise, based on which hero you virus, it would give you less value. So if you virus a tank, that's only 100 damage, which is percentage-wise just straight up less than the 50% you would have otherwise done damage to a squishy to. So over the course of a game, you prioritize virusing squishies, which fails more often, and tanks are less accessible, which means you're in less positions in which you can build EMP, and that kind of like compounds to you building EMP straight up less fast because you keep going for like the eliminations and stuff.
So you're saying Sombra 76 is not as good, is what you're saying.
Oh, another point.
I love saying
point.
that.
I got another point.
Ooh, Fitzy has another point. Let's go again.
Buildables should give ult charge.
Ooh,
that's a take.
That is spicy.
that is a take. We're gonna have to sit down for that one. All right, let's bust that can open.
No, just as like because Sombra's thing is like when a part of the reason why Iliari Torb is like, I killed the pylon, I killed the turret, I killed the pylon. Oh, they ulted, and you have 10%. But if like Sombra's like, oh, I'm getting ult charge for it, like it should. I think it should be like you get ult charge for it.
I can get that.
That would be an entirely new
versus
concept
Ash.
in the game, though.
It's Farm Bob. There's your
Well,
EMP.
Bob doesn't need to. It's fine. Like that's a
Bob's
different
special.
thing. But like mainly turret, because that's why no one shoots the turret. They're always like, oh, it's fine. I'll just shoot the shield. Oh, and then I'll just shoot them and get ult charge.
I remember
don't
when
need
you
to
got
shoot
ult
the
charge off
turret.
shooting shields. Those are
What?
days. All the way back in Overwatch 1. You get ult charge shooting shields.
You
Oh,
get
yeah, the
damage
start.
number.
You
Was
got
it-
damage
by
number.
That was
It was
damage, yeah.
damage numbers? I
Yeah,
thought it was
yeah.
ult charge.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
Overwatch
ult
players
charge
would
would be
always blame me.
ridiculous.
Oh, I thought
Guys.
that's what they were like changed in 2 weeks after launch or something.
I found out why
Dang.
Questron hates Sombra 76 so much. It's like, where's my ult charge, guys? It's gone. So, segue aside, Ruben, we were talking about what you would do in the future. We talked, obviously, pretty extensively about EMP, but non-EMP related. What would you like to see from Sombra changes, or just the environment around Sombra? Because you obviously were very angry at some certain support heroes.
Honestly, I think Sombra, like her neutral kit, is in a really good spot. I genuinely think you could not touch her at all whatsoever, except for making Translocator a zero width projectile. Besides that, you could genuinely do nothing to her, and she would be fine if you just nerf a bunch of the supports. If you nerf a bunch of the supports and don't touch Sombra's neutral, I think she'll be perfectly fine. But as is, those support guys do way too much, and they also kill people better than me because they can two-shot people. I'm looking at Iliari and Kiriko. They can do everything that anyone else in the game does, but better. As long as those guys get addressed, you don't really need to change anything about Sombra's neutral, in my opinion. I think she's genuinely, like, her kit, the numbers, the almost everything is great, as is.
Fair enough. Questron, what would you change?
Same. Genuinely just the EMP. Really. I really don't have much else to say. Unless,
fine.
I mean, invisibility, I guess,
Yeah.
maybe. And also, it's gonna be a take and a half, but at this point, I don't think hacking health packs is at all like in her flow at all. Like if you run across a health pack, you just need it faster. That would be like the only actual reason I could give someone to hack a health pack, really, because you don't really play around. You don't play in the vicinity of a health pack anymore because of how her kit is kind of designed, unless you use that in the duel itself.
I find it depends on the angle. It depends on the angle where I'm holding.
Yeah,
if I
in
know
very
I'm-
specific situations, you could hack health packs, but I mean, it's not that important anymore, and it's still being
disagree.
emphasized a lot.
I
also
disagree.
disagree.
I'm going to take one moment, Yeatle.
go.
I saw you playing on Circuit Royale, and you're like, where the heck is this health pack on this third point? Where is it? I've been saying that since the map launched. There's like, that's a good spot. That's a good spot. There's just none. There's just none
Wait,
right there.
Are you talking
It's
near
so stupid.
the first defense respawn? Where are you talking about?
Yeah, in between second and third point, right there.
Yeah.
When you're trying to like
There's
back cap
nothing.
second,
Yes, there's nothing there.
there's no health packs, and
The new maps have such weird health pack placements, except for Paraíso. Paraíso is fine. That's the only compliment I'll ever have to say about that map. Every other new map has just the weirdest health packs for some reason. I don't know why.
Unfortunately.
sorry, I just
No,
remember
you're
seeing
good.
that. And I was just like, God, thank you. Somebody else sees it.
So Fitzy.
I don't play around health packs. I wouldn't know.
So Fitzy, your short list of changes. I mean, I guess obviously like not biting off more than we can chew, but What are your first?
And we're talking not Sombra changes that we're saying?
Both, really.
Okay. Yeah, I think the kit is fine at the moment. You could move the cooldown half a second, whatever, on something. You could change stealth speed by 5%, whatever, if they really wanted to. But I don't think any of that really needs changed. I do think my just like general, again, this is just very broad. Sombra should be, I mean, she's very good at 1v1ing, right? Like she can 1v1 like any DPS, but just like can't 1v1 a lot of the supports. Obviously Zen, Mercy, you just whatever. But it should be, in my opinion, at least favored for Sombra. Like it could be 55-40. It could be 50-50, but it should not be like 80-20. It should not be 80-20 in the support's favor in a true like 1v1. That's how I just like think the balance. That's why Hanzo always frustrated me. Was like, okay, Sombra should not have like a 20% win rate in a 1v1 against a sniper. Like that just shouldn't happen.
Sniper.
So sniper, yes, that lunges towards you to kill you. But that's just always been my kind of. Obviously, with the old Sombra, it was like, okay, it's fine. She can get out for free, but now you can't. So like, she has to get those kills. And obviously with virus and whatnot. And again, that's more on the support strong side of. Yeah, Zen has the high damage, low mobility. Kiriko's got the high damage and high survivability and high mobility and if we're talking about the neutral and the ultimates, like it's okay if Kiriko beats you in the neutral, but then you shit on her in the ultimate war, but you don't. So it's like she beats you everywhere. Like she beats you in a 1v1, she beats you in helping somebody, she beats you in the ultimate. So it's like there's no space there, to really play against her. Like where's your window? Aside from, okay, I virused and left and they used Suzu, now I go try to kill him again. You're pretty much just I'm gonna force Suzu and hope that my team takes value out of that and call it a day.
Makes sense. So I want to finish up with 4 questions, and I'd like to split these up if we could. So we got 4 questions from the Elo Mastery Discord. I'll start off with this one. Ruben, if you're able to answer this one. If not, just start weeping uncontrollably, and I'll take the message and I'll ask somebody outside. So what is the best way to use EMP in terms of positioning and timing now that you can't consistently get out of jail free?
That is a really, really, really hard question to answer because it depends. It depends on what comp they're running. It depends on how your team is engaging. It depends on your team comp. I think the biggest thing that I try to think about is what support utility is there to counter my EMP, and how can I get that out before I EMP, especially with Suzu, because I would prefer my EMP doesn't get Suzu'd. So optimally, I try to be like, hey guys, let me know if they Suzu, and then I'll go for the EMP. But like for the most part, it really just I approach a lot of the situations very differently depending on a lot of different factors. So that is a really, really, really hard question to ask. Because
it just makes sense.
I'm gonna give the classic. It depends.
Sure. Now, question. I'm going to target you with this one. You've already answered this one, but you're only allowed to answer it with 1 sentence. Question is, how does everyone feel about the role stealth plays in your kit now versus before? 1 sentence challenge. Can you do it?
I'm going to need a second. That's not the sentence, by the way. There's a comma in there. And then colon, and then I'm going to ask the question. Yeah, no, it's in 1 sentence. Dude, that is so hard. Okay.
I might stretch it to 2, maybe, but I don't know.
On paper, it's buffed, but it's mostly an escape.
Makes sense. Well answered, I would say. Obviously, something that we've talked about a lot previously on this session. Okay, so Fitzy, I'm going to target you with this one, but this one, just because I like you a little bit better than Questron, I'm going to let you use more than 1 sentence.
Valid.
Nice.
Right. So obviously, this is a good question for you because the question is, Is hack even worth using? Or is it better to virus for shoot and escape, safe hack, denying certain abilities? We have talked about that one at length. But if you were to sum that one up, or maybe bring in a new interaction or a new exception that you may have not discussed previously, what would you say?
It depends.
My favorite
90%
sentence.
of the time, virus, shoot, call it a day. That's consistent value and easier to land, and you're forcing cooldowns. Hack is used to attempt to secure a kill. And so with supports right now, if you ever are hacking and trying to commit to a kill, a Kiriko just TPs in and saves them. So it's better to virus shoot. You get ult charge, more survivability, and you're forcing cooldowns, and you kind of just rinse repeat that.
Makes sense. Okay, Yeatle, you got the last one here. And I got a good one for you too. So how do I play Sombra versus not necessarily poke, but versus backlines or compositions that I cannot find solo targets on? Might as well just replace this with Wrecking Ball, but I figured this is appropriate.
Damn. To be honest, like I still try for it. Like, for example, I think a lot of people have a gripe with Lifeweaver, but I think Lifeweaver is pretty manageable. Baptiste as well. I usually it's kind of like who was it? I think it was Morwith that said it. Funny enough, Mosquito Sombra playstyle where you go in, you cube, you force cooldowns to get out, and then the next time you go in for the kill. Definitely the hardest one of all the supports is going to be Kiriko, but besides that, I think you got a fighting chance against most of them. Like Brig, hack, cube, dead. Lifeweaver, hack, cube, not always dead, but you can kill him. And yeah,
Sure.
Brig
So-
hack? That's
Yeah.
surprising.
So I was doing cube first on Brig for a while, but Brig, hack, cube, like
She doesn't have her
she's
shield.
killable.
I
Yeah.
just shoot the shield till it breaks and then
How
cube.
do you hack a Brig if she just turns around with her shield up?
Yeah, no, if they do that, you can't.
Right,
But a
'cause-
lot of times, if you get like behind them, they won't.
I need to find these Brig players and play against them because that sounds
GM1.
wonderful.
GM
See, what
one,
you
believe
do
it or
is
not.
you gotta win to really start winning. That's how it works. It snowballs, you know.
Yeah.
GM1, that's where
games
the
get
worst players
easier.
are. Yeah.
Rank
Okay.
69 isn't high enough.
Well, makes sense. All right. Any final words, guys? That's all I've got for today. Any last pleas to the devs or like last statements? Because we're pretty much wrapped up.
Yeah, I'll say if nothing else, the one change that I really like to see is translocator not hitting walls as much. I know it's a bit of user error, but like it'd be nice if it just didn't happen. Because I think I die multiple times in a game because of it, and it sucks.
Reload on EMP tree, maybe Kitsune, maybe.
Sure. Questron.
Follow
like
me on
Invis-
Twitch.
With
This
Prime,
guy.
Twitch.tv/Questron Questron or aimbort.com redirects to me.
Oh,
Took my
aimbort.
opportunity. Oh yeah.
This guy's wild. He's the real hacker. Ruben.
I mean, I've had my name the whole time, so
That's true. And in purple as
I have
well.
my
I can't read
catchphrase
neon
right
signs,
here.
unfortunately. I went to Vegas. I'm blind to them. Unfortunate.
All right. Well, I
For
appreciate you
me-
guys. Oh, you got to go ahead. I thought
Yeah.
you're plugging your sign. Go ahead.
I wasn't gonna. No, I'm just gonna say I like Invis hack, and I low key. I don't like being loud about it. No, not Invis hack. Sorry, I like perma Invis. I'm glad it's still around. It's a really fun scouting tool, and I'm glad that I can still use it. And I'm glad I can use it to still spawn camp people.
Questron is just never going to speak with you again. I just hope you realize that.
Well, I wasn't listening to him. What's going on?
I won't be loud about. won't be loud about how
Selective.
much I enjoy perma Invis, but I like it. I'm glad it's still.
Sorry,
here.
as soon as you said perma invis, I just clock out. What's going on?
Yeah. Pretty much. All
We'll
right,
talk
y'all.
about this off stream.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, you're screwed, mate. Doxing is going to be the actual Sombra hacking going on here. Okay. Well, y'all, I appreciate y'all's time. Obviously, super fun discussion. Really appreciate you guys for being here.
Yeah,
Thank you for
GG's.
the
Thanks for having
invite.
us.
All right, GG's,
Thank
guys.
you
Have a good
for
rest of your
having
afternoon.
us.